All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome. My name is Megan Henry. I am a white woman with her hair up, wearing glasses, sitting in my office. I have some art pieces over my shoulder and some books and a plant. And the walls are white in the room that I'm in. Santa, do you want to introduce yourself?
I am yeah, I am and then but my head was back. I am then put the and a bit of thought and I let put
All right, thanks. So to get started, I think we'll introduce ourselves and then go from there. So my background is in disability services. I had 11 years at a company. Santa and I had a chance to work together for some of that time. And I headed up our training department at that company and, just built out resources and tools to support our team members and also expand our initiatives towards accessibility and advocacy. And that's a lot of what Santa and I worked on together. And I now have a different role, I have a different job, but continuing to connect with Santa and other people in the disability community to provide support and see how we can continue to talk about these things and be loud and make some noise about some of this stuff. So yeah, Santa, I'll hand it over to you.
This is a podcast discussing disability issues. A real talk discussing disability.
Awesome. Thank you, Santa. And I guess another question that we can talk about really quickly is just how we met. Do we want to dig into that?
I am a middle-aged Hispanic woman with a significant disability. Megan took a class that I was presenting at. She reached out to me after and we started talking and she offered me a job.
That's the short and sweet of it, right? Yeah, so we have known each other for, I feel like it's like 4 years, 3 years, 4 years now. Yeah. And so we have known each other in just different capacities. I think, like Santa said, I took a leadership workshop and Santa taught a class in that. And we connected after that and ended up working together. So that was really awesome. And now we're, I would say we're friends and supporting each other. Yeah. So I think probably as we've been talking, people have noticed that you are using a communication device. Do you want to talk a little bit about how you communicate?
I cannot use my hands to type, so I use my chin. I have 2 switches under my chin. I use Morse code that inputs the computer. I have been using Morse code for over 40 years. I have been an advocate for most of my life.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that, Santa. And I one additional thing maybe we want to add is you don't solely use your communication device. So that's one way that you communicate. And then other times you'll
I don't have nothing.
sometimes you don't have
I don't have nothing.
your friends to help. So
Yeah.
sometimes there might be another person who might be present to kind of assist with communication on that side too. So you have different modes of communication. Yeah. And I think you have to. Yeah. And I think maybe one interesting tidbit to add in here is that as far as phones go, like there is a lot of advancement in that kind of technology, but for you, there is still a barrier there. And so like the goal someday is to have those resources so that you can utilize an iPhone so that, you know, resources are built. Am I saying that correctly? It doesn't have to be an iPhone. It could be an Android. You would love to have a phone that you can use on your own. Yeah. So there's still limitations, you know, that we're fighting through. So yeah. So do you want to, I would love to, I mean, I know I have heard and we have talked about your advocacy work, but I think it'd be great if you can share a little bit about the rights and advocacy work that you've done in the last few years.
I have been an advocate for most of my life. I'm always asking questions. I sit on many committees, both state and federal. It keeps me busy. But I love teaching people how to be better advocates for themselves.
You want people with disabilities to understand that everyone has the right. Yeah. A lot of people, they don't feel like they have, or they don't know. Yeah, I mean, in my time of knowing you, and I know you've done a lot of work before we even met, but you know, seeing the work that you've done and even just being like a role model for people, talking to people that we knew at the company that we worked at together who would talk about you in that light and, you know, see the way in which you so strongly and passionately like approach the work that you did. I think it really inspired some people to step beyond maybe what their comfort zone was or what they thought like was where their space was. Like they pushed their space a little bit bigger. And I think, you know, it's really cool that you've been able to open those doors for other people too. Yeah, we do have a long way to go.
There have been 2 times where I can say my advocacy work. The first time was when I was in 9th grade. I wanted to a typical high school that was adjacent to my segregated school.
Yeah, I mean, do we want to go ahead and jump into that? So you can segue. You're like, we're talking about advocacy.
I wanted to a typical high school that was adjacent to my segregated school. It took a lot of persuasion for my school to let me attend.
All right. I think we had a little bit of technical difficulties there, but we are back. And I think, Sant always gets on my case for not knowing Zoom well enough. So yeah, I still haven't taken that Zoom class, but someday, not yet. Yeah. Anyway, so Santa is going to share with us a little bit about how she got into advocacy work. It's kind of the origin story of that.
There have been 2 times where I can say my advocacy work. The first time was when I was in 9th grade. I wanted to a typical high school that was adjacent to my segregated school. All of the high school students went there and I felt, why can't I? It took a lot of persuasion for my school to let me attend. I started taking one class at first, but by the time I was in 12th grade, I took all of my classes at that school and graduated from that school.
Yeah, so starting out young, huh, Santa?
Yeah.
I feel like part of it is in your blood. Like you were
Yeah.
like born to fight, like but I did want to speak really quickly about your book, Sitting at Eye Level, which shares some of these stories and more stories, which are really, really awesome. And you can get that on Amazon. And yeah, I mean, I think you have been an advocate since you were a kid, right? Like you had to be.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Nobody told you that you had to be an advocate. You just did it by yourself. Yeah. Well, and I think, for you, maybe it came naturally, but I think you've probably encountered people where they maybe shy away from that, or they feel afraid to do that, or they're like scared to speak up for what they need. And so I think it's awesome. Like when I read your book for the first time, that was really cool to see those stories of how you were like, forget it, like this is what I want. I'm gonna let you know what it is, and making those changes happen. So what advocacy work have you done that you are most proud of? You don't have that on your list? Do you want me to tell you what you're most proud of? Just kidding. I have your questions here. Or do you remember what you wrote down for that question? Yeah. Proud to be a mom.
I had a son
You have a son
named Noah.
named Noah.
He is
He's, how old is he now? Did you say 18? 20? 23? So you have had many years of being a mom in the space of being a disability rights advocate also. And I think like, you know, was really profound to me when I was reading your answers to this, because it's so simple. Like I'm a mom, but like in the disability rights space, like that's something it's so important to talk about, because so many people are denied that right or told they shouldn't do that. Or I'm sure, like I read your story, like I know, like, you know, the struggles and challenges that you encounter when you want to pursue something, you know, in many people's eyes, that's like as simple as being a mom, right? Like so many people get to have that right. And so I think, you know, that's something so awesome to talk about, you know, in your life, and the thing that you're most proud of to share as an advocate.
yeah,
You remember when you found out that you were pregnant?
that
One group of people,
awesome.
some people thought that was awesome. It's about time. The other people, they wanted you to have an abortion. What are you thinking? Yeah.
No. No.
You had to tell yourself. It's your body. And your son. No, I'm not catching the last word. Do you want
in my family,
in your family,
that everyone did,
that everyone became a mom?
that that the decision that is the decision that in the
That's your like upbringing to being a mom. I wasn't catching that word, but
yeah,
is that right? Okay.
yeah, yeah.
So you wanted to be a mom. Yeah.
I never thought about this.
You never thought about why not you.
Yeah. Why can't I be a mom?
Why can't I be a mom? Yeah.
I have and
You're a woman.
oh, to be
You want to be a mom.
yeah.
It's as simple as that, right? Like, yeah, people overcomplicate it, I think. So that's really, really cool. And I mean, I think like in another, you know, chance that we have to talk about just the medical system and the barriers that a lot of people face there. And particularly, you know, for women with disabilities going to medical providers and some of the challenges that are faced there, because I think not all medical providers are educated in a way that they understand what those conversations should look like. Is that fair to say? So I think we can dive into that more. I think that could be like a whole hour that we could spend probably talking about that. But we can move on a little bit. I want to definitely give some time to what you're up to now and kind of what you want to get into and how you want to be supporting different communities and people out there. So you know, you have launched a new website and you are offering speaking services for companies looking for DEI speakers or just interesting speakers to come and kind of challenge the thinking in their companies. And then also offering support to disability service providers who you have worked in those spaces in those companies and providing some coaching for them. And then also you are offering individual coaching for people who are in the disability community. So with that being said, I want to ask just a little bit about why should companies from non-disabled spaces book you as a speaker?
With the new DEI concepts, I think I bring a unique perspective on what that really means. I have that lived experience that everyone needs to hear. I can offer companies the unique perspective of DEI from a Hispanic woman who sits on wheels that follows her around.
I believe that I'm helping it's higher than it's not involved. It doesn't have to be a lot of money, and they have to.
If they hire someone with a disability, it doesn't have to be cost a lot of money or be a challenge. Yeah, because I think you know, employers shy away from hiring people with disabilities. I mean, I have been witness to that myself in some companies that I've been a part of, where even at the recruiter, like before somebody even gets through the door to interview, a recruiter is putting up barriers to that person to be part of that. And the hiring managers have to like push and fight for that. But I think to your point, if you're able to come in and kind of help and support and talk with companies about, like, it's not scary. It's fine. You'll be fine.
It's not
It's not the end of the world. Yeah. And I think also like people don't know what they don't know, you know, and so to kind of take that barrier down, because I think a lot of people will shy away from something because they're just like, well, I don't know what to do. And so I will speak from experience to anyone listening that Santa is like the best person to ask and talk to, because she's not afraid of any of those questions. And she'll give you a straight answer too. So I, you know, I think that it's really, really cool that you are offering this as an opportunity for people to have you come in and kind of share your lived experience, but also kind of speak to how to open those doors for other people.
Mhm.
Do you want me to share your website for anyone interested? So if you are interested, you can go to santaperez.com. And all Santa's information is there. You can see her pricing. You can see links to her book, videos that she's done, and also just fill out an interest form if you want to hire her to come and speak at your company.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, hopefully we will have more of these chats. I think Santa and I always have a lot to talk about, so we figured why don't we just record it and allow other people in on our conversations. But for now, we'll close it out and everybody check out Santa's website.
Yeah.
All right. Bye, everyone. SantaPerez.com.
Bye.
Bye.